But don't look in your rearview mirror, here comes number 8. He's a rocker and a roller and he sure knows how to shut them down. I guess he runs independent until the dead is back in town. Yeah, I guess he runs independent until the dead is back in town. That boy, stand on it, son.
And welcome to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that with their win on Sunday, Colleague Racing became the first part-time Cup team to win a NASCAR Cup Series race since 2011? Now, I'm not sure who the team is that was previous to them, so if someone could let us know in the comments, that would be great. But anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Bob Fan 101. With my good friend and co-host Christian, aka Savage NASCAR.
What's up, guys?
So let's get into talking about this crazy weekend at the Indy Road Course here. We're going to get started with the Xfinity race. So what did you think of it?
Xfinity race, I didn't watch it live, of course, because I work, but I did watch the replay of it. Austin Cindric pretty much dominated that race, but also Justin Haley did really well, and it seemed like the top three were the dominant cars: AJ Allmendinger, Austin Cindric, and Justin Haley. I was thinking that Chase Elliott might lead laps, but he didn't. He ended up finishing fourth. One driver that did lead some laps was Riley Herbst. He ended up finishing eighth, and then Ty Gibbs led 4 laps and ended up 19th. My pick to win, Justin Allgaier. I don't know what happened to him, because he was in the top 10 at some points, and he just dropped back to the back. And then he had to work himself back up to 11th place finish. Some other, I guess some drivers that kind of impressed me in this race. Alex Labbe did really well. Andy Lally did good too. Both of them got top 15s. We saw Kyle Weatherman up there as well. Josh Williams in the mix at sometimes. Yeah, one thing too that we first saw in the Xfinity race that was a big topic, the bump. You know what I'm saying? Cars were flying out there. And I was thinking that was just going to stay for the Saturday race. I didn't think we'd see a whole lot of crashing in the Sunday race, but I sure was proven wrong, and we'll get to that. But yeah, it was just a lot of calamity this weekend. It really was, but Cindric pretty much dominated that race, and it doesn't surprise me at all. He's just had a great year, just like he did last year.
Yeah, definitely. The Xfinity race was not as good as it was last year.
Yeah.
Cindric, like you said, it's mostly just Cindric dominating, Allmendinger as well in the mix, and just the same old road course favorites. Nothing really too different from races that we've seen in the past. So I guess if I had to rate it, I'll give it like a 5. It was just a mad race to me.
I was sort of surprised that Kevin Harvick had a bad race, but he had a suspension problem. Then, if I'm correct, they had the wrecks of Brandon Jones wrecked out early. We got Brandon Brown wrecked out early, Preston Pardis.
Yeah.
Chris Wright had an accident, so did Sam Mayer. If I'm correct, Sam Mayer was the one that flew up in the air, but I may be wrong.
I think he did. Someone did in the Xfinity race. I'll probably see it later. But yes. Another topic was Sam Mayer and Chase Elliott kind of going at it a little bit.
Rider on the curves, and they're banging quarter panels. Sam Mayer's around out of 6. He'll spin to the inside, hard into the tire barrier.
That's not being
damage on the right front of the Sam Mayer car, who got crossed up coming out of turn number 6.
That's definitely going to possibly bring out a yellow. I don't know if Sam will be able to get that car out of the grass there, but a little contact between him and Chase Elliott going through turn 5 and 6. You have to remember earlier in the race, in turn 7, there was contact between them two drivers who sent Chase Elliott around. Those guys trying to race side by side through that kink is very difficult to do. You saw ahead of them, Maya Snyder allowed the 54 to have that position, would not go through there side by side with him. Sam's going to got a yellow. Look at the replay. So right in front of him, Maya Snyder's gave up this same situation with the 54 car, but these two drivers, both of them wanting this position, decided to race through there side by side. A little bit of contact. I think Sam sees that curb that those drivers jumped earlier in the race, made an avoidance, a quick movement in the steering wheel to miss that, and spun the car out into the tire barrier trying to avoid.
Elliott got some sort of payback because he got pushed onto the rumble strip and then just got into Mayer.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, yeah, there's always going to be bumping on road course, a little bit of payback every once in a while.
Yeah. And the reason why Chase Elliott was in the car was for Michael Nett's leg surgery, which he's still recovering from. I know probably most people knew that, but I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
So now let's take a look at what you guys had to say. 2 of you said great, 4 of you said good, 2 of you said meh/okay, and 1 of you said bad. Henry24257 says a lot of action and drama, which made it good for historical purposes, but the oval is better. For NASCAR purposes, I gotta disagree, but for overall, I gotta give it to the oval. I mean, the oval is just so iconic, but for NASCAR, definitely the road course.
I agree with you. Like, honestly, going into this weekend, right? If y'all remember on last week's podcast, I didn't think it was going to be a good weekend. I thought it was going to be sort of like, just sit back, kind of like nothing too like action packed. But I was wrong. I was proven wrong. It was very exciting. I thought it was an exciting weekend, in my opinion. And going into it, I'm like, well, they should go back to the oval next year. Well, my opinion's been changed. My thought's been changed. I think they should definitely go back to road course next season. That's just my opinion. But I've always loved the oval more because it just seems right. It's Indianapolis. It's the yard of bricks. So I feel like that the oval, of course, is the most iconic part of that track. But for NASCAR purposes, I definitely like the road course, and they should definitely do it again next year.
I personally think they should do a doubleheader. Like, instead of having the Pocono doubleheader, you should have it where on Saturday they race the road course, and then on Sunday they race the Brickyard 400, the Crown Jewel race.
That's a good idea, Mike. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that would be pretty cool. I'm sure more people would show up for that too. I mean, there was some fans in the race Sunday, but there wasn't a whole lot like there used to be. And one thing I would suggest, talking about Pocono, you brought Pocono up, they should do one race at Pocono backwards, and then they should do the other Pocono race the normal way.
I'm not really sure how much of that would change, but all right.
Triangle, but okay, yeah. What else did they say on
that was it.
That was it.
I do want to mention one thing that, because the IndyCar race and the Xfinity race were on the same day, maybe a lot of fans stayed around for that just to see it. Like, I know some of the drivers, they really wanted to check it out. I know Ryan Hunter-Ray was there on Sunday. We got Rinus VeeKay there as well. He wanted to check it out. So maybe some IndyCar fans found some interest in it. Who knows? Because we find interest in IndyCar. So no driver of the day, but I mean, I got to give it to Cindric because of just how much he dominated. Yeah,
same. Yeah, pretty much.
And speaking of Cindric, shout out to Diecast Racing Enterprises for picking Austin Cindric. So now let's move on to the Cup race. Oh my goodness. This was a big race full of ups and downs. What did you think?
Well, there's so many storylines. I feel like we should break this off into different sections. First off, I think we should talk about, I don't know where to start, dude. Like, I mean, there's just so much to happen. Like, I guess we could first start off talking about the wrecks that happened that caused the red flags before you get into the finish.
24 spinning. The 24's there's multiple cars into the wall here. There must be oil or some kind of fluid down on the racetrack right there in turn. We got more cars coming in.
William Byron is reporting that the curb came up. He hit the curb in the 24.
Yeah, the curbing is coming up, and that's what everyone hit when they were coming through there in turn 6. The curbing comes up, catches a bunch of the cars, the front ends of the cars, and numerous Suarez cars are destroyed. Take a look at what happened to Daniel Suarez's car.
More contact on the straightaway, and there's more calamity on the back straightaway. Cars everywhere on the back stretch. Austin Dillon, hard contact.
That was the result of that curve.
Well, here you go. Guys hadn't seen the racetrack in this configuration. Through here side by side. See Bubba Wallace, he bails out. But huge jump right there by McDowell. They haven't been through this track like this before without that curb. It's caused all this issues. It's easy to say, well, you know it's there, but vision just isn't what you think it is when you're following other cars. Watch these cars hit it. Blaney hit it a little bit. Further back, look at that launch. Around he goes. Crazy. See Cole Custer in the wall. The teammates. Austin Dillon with big damage. Kyle Larson.
I mean, the race was really good. I really enjoyed watching that race, and I was at work actually, so I didn't see all of it. I reacted to it on my YouTube channel, and I was shocked. I was completely shocked. And at some points, I was thinking it was just going to be another Larson and Chase Elliott road course show. To be honest, I mean, they just pulled away from everybody. But Allmendinger, he finished second in the Xfinity race, and then in the Cup race, he was up there with the leaders, so he had a chance. You know, Chase Briscoe, I had the flag up again this week, and I'll probably keep it up there for future episodes. He was up there in the mix too. I was surprised Denny Hamlin was up there, but I shouldn't have been. Truex Jr. my pick to win. He ended up getting into 2 wrecks. I guess we first talk about that one wreck. Basically with the rumble strip, or I don't know, the one bump. There was a whole under part of the car got stuck underneath it, and then when they came back around another time or something, it destroyed the car sheet metal. It destroyed the front bumpers and the side panels, and then cars just went everywhere. Like in the one wreck with William Byron, he got the hook out, and then all of a sudden I see Joey go flying into the tires. I was just so surprised. And I knew you were probably mad, Mike. I mean, I was like, at first I was like, oh, Joey's in it. And I'm like, oh, is he all right? It was a hard hit. And then we saw just a bunch of cars running into each other. That was the longest red flag. That race went over so long on the TV broadcast just because of how long the red flags were for the track repairs. So what was your view on that one wreck?
Oh man, I got a big view of it. In my opinion, NASCAR definitely screwed up with not calling the yellow, because you can clearly see when Truex had spun out, there was debris flying.
And gets by Kyle Larson in the 24. He'll take third, and they're bumping and banging and grinding, and one car's around. Coming out of turn number 6, he'll spin it to the inside. That is Martin Truex Jr.
From his car. Yeah. And I understand that, it's a road course and it's a lot bigger, so he has more time to get the car around unless he stalls out. But there was so much debris that they could have easily just called the yellow, not counted any of the laps and just went into OT like normal. But instead they left it on the track because Briscoe and Hamlin were battling. And in my honest opinion, I would have much rather have seen a yellow and teams thought of strategy than have debris on the track for no reason.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
And they just left it there for 2, 3, 4 laps. I don't know how long it was there, but all of a sudden I see Byron spinning out, and then all of a sudden, Joey, he hits the tires, and I don't mean to sound like a toxic fan, but that sucks to see your favorite driver go into the wall because of NASCAR's incompetence.
Well, there's nothing wrong with saying that, Mike. I mean, if that was my favorite driver, I'd be pretty upset too. And yeah, it was just crazy, man. All the cars it looked like they had no brakes. It looked like they had ARCA brakes. They're just out of control, just spinning around everywhere. There's Kyle Busch was involved. So I know some fans are happy about that, but Kevin Harvick was in there too. Yeah. I guess we can now move on to the next incident.
Well, I just want to mention one thing. I mean, there were so many good cars. Suarez, he was having a pretty decent run.
Yeah.
Byron was having a good run like usual. Logano was having a decent run, not too, like just normal Logano at a road course. But I mean, it's just so stupid, and it honestly pissed me off that we had to see that. And NASCAR definitely needs to get their stuff together there. And while I'm at it, I want to criticize that freaking ramp or whatever, the curb. I don't know what it is. Why would you have that there? If you know the cars are gonna go 3, 4, 5 wide down the corners, why would you put that there? Like, I understand it's for like speed purposes, but like just put it as solid ground, Like, we've seen Coda do that, and it's perfect. No other I've never seen that on any road course, and that was so stupid to just watch these cars flying. This is not Monster Jam. This is NASCAR.
Well, it ain't no, off-road flying ramps, but like you bring a good point. Those bumps I feel like were put there for entertainment purposes, but at the same time they were not sturdy. And getting rid of that one bump in the middle of that curve was a good idea. After it's good they got rid of that. The Xfinity race, we saw a driver in the Xfinity race literally wreck themselves to avoid one of those bumps, and they went to tires. And in the Cup race, they didn't really have to worry about the bump, but with that curve though, like it is a sharp curve. Like most of those curves, we saw people going 4 wide, 3 wide, people run off the track, which will lead to Briscoe going off the track. We'll talk about that a little bit. But literally, yeah, like I completely understand your view on this. And it also sort of brings to mind the Roval when they first went to the Roval and they had the tires just sticking out in the middle of the track and Bubba hit them, like the uproar that caused. That's sort of what it reminds me of in a way. And it caused multiple wrecks this weekend.
And speaking of Bubba, he got a stupid penalty because he was being kind of forced to where that curb ramp thing is, and he wanted to try and avoid it. And then Michael McDowell, he shifted in, and then he just flies in the air. And Bubba got a stupid penalty because he was trying to avoid that. Like that's stupid.
Yeah, that was a bad penalty. There's two, in my opinion, bad penalties in that. And I feel like we should now move on to another. There was another wreck after that, which led to another red flag. That was, of course, Michael McDowell and Austin Dillon hit the ball really hard, and Martin Truex was involved in that one. I don't remember who was all in that wreck, but there was a good bit. When I first saw that, watching it live, reacting to it, I thought there was 15 cars in that wreck because of all the smoke and then cars just flying in and out of there. Corey LaJoie somehow got through all those wrecks. It was crazy to see him drive through those. But yeah, I mean, just calamity.
Days of Thunder. He posted something with Days of Thunder there, so that was really good of him.
Yeah. So now I guess we move on to the finish of this race.
16 on the inside of row 2. Once again, hard on the gas. Across the yard of bricks. 2 laps to go from Indy. A great restart for Denny Hamlin.
Here he comes into turn 1. Chase Briscoe's going to give him a run for the money. Here's Briscoe to the outside, but he's going to be offline. No, Briscoe's in the grass. Now it's a battle for the lead with Hamlin and Allmendinger. Briscoe will come back onto the grass, and now he will be side by side with Denny Hamlin. Briscoe getting forced off course. There's smoke out of the 11 car. It's all clear now, though. He leads them into 7. Briscoe right on his tail. We'll have to see how NASCAR.
Stop and go. 14 has a
Stop and go for the 14 car. He is not racing for the win. Oh, he's got to spin Denny. Denny is spun out. The 14 car spun Denny Hamlin out into turn 10.
That puts A.J. Allmendinger in the lead because Briscoe will have to serve a penalty. He did not enter back onto the racetrack the way that you're supposed to. So A.J. Allmendinger is going to be the leader right here. Ryan Blaney right behind him. Kyle Larson
It came down to wire. If I'm correct, it was an overtime finish. Maybe wrong, but
Oh, it was.
Briscoe, he got forced off the track. Undoubtedly, he got forced off the track. He ended up getting penalized for that, but yeah. At first everyone thought that he didn't spin Hamlin knowing that he had a penalty, but it turns out he did. So he did lie about that. So that is a little bad on his part. But being a Briscoe fan, I'm glad he took out Hamlin. I honestly was so surprised and sort of happy because I mean, I know a lot of people might be mad at me for this, but I thought it was kind of funny to see him do that. I'm not a huge Denny Hamlin fan, so that kind of made me happy. And it opened the door up for AJ Allmendinger and some of the Hendrick guys to battle for the win. But Briscoe, even if he didn't have the penalty, he wouldn't have won that race because he had a tire going down. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, Briscoe should have won." Well, no, he had a tire flat. He wasn't going to win the race anyway. But I mean, still, it was a great run for him as a Briscoe fan. I'm very happy for him. So, he almost got the pick correct, Mike. He almost did. He almost did. So yeah, and also shout out to Josiah. He got AJ. He picked AJ to win, and AJ did. And it's really awesome to see AJ back in victory lane. If I'm correct, it's his first Cup win since the 2014 Watkins Glen race, and the Colleague Racing. Really happy to see them in victory lane, and they've been working so hard over the years. They've grown so much as a team. So yeah, just very happy for them.
Yeah, definitely there. My thoughts on the whole finish. I mean, I thought it was a great finish. A lot of twists and plot twists, that type of stuff. AJ, or not AJ, Chase got forced down to the line, obviously, and I think I couldn't tell too much. I thought Di Benedetto did it because I thought I saw him hit Chase in the back when they were going into the first turn, and then Chase, I don't know why he went in the grass. Well, I kind of do because I don't think he wanted to turn into Blaney, because if he had turned back onto the track, it could have hit Blaney. And I'm not sure if he was thinking properly, so he just went straight through the grass. And I was shocked because I thought he was going to go through the grass and hit the wall head on, and that was his race, and it was going to be AJ versus Denny. But once I saw Chase come back, I was shocked. And then I heard that he got a penalty, and then all of a sudden I just see him spinning Hamlin, and I was just jumping up and down because, for those of you who don't know, I am not at all a Denny Hamlin fan. I cannot stand him. So it was definitely amazing to see him getting dumped like that.
It was pretty funny too, because when I was reacting to this from my channel, bro, right when he was on his bumper, there was an ad that popped up, and I'm like, bro, this is the worst time for an ad. Right when the ad ends, it just shows Hamlin spin. I'm like, what? Wait. Man, it was crazy, bro.
So yeah, and then he said that he didn't realize he had a penalty, which I heard the crewman say, "Hey, you got a penalty."
Clear. Say we owe him a stop and go in turn 10. Stop and go in turn 10. Turning now on channel 2. Stop and go in turn 10. Stop.
Sometimes when you're in the zone like that, when you have nerves, you block out the outside noise. So I don't know if he was trying to block out all that noise and just trying to get past Hamlin, or if he just was lying about it, because people got to realize, first of all, this would be his first Cup win ever. It would have knocked him into the playoffs, and on top of that, it's at his home track of Indianapolis, and his family was there sitting in turn 4. So I mean, I don't blame him for wrecking Hamlin. I think he was just trying the simple bump and run, and he just turned him because he was going in the corner. But I don't know. It's definitely a wild turn of events, and he did get screwed over because either he overbroke the corner or he had a tire going down, and Allmendinger passed him. And I was very happy to see Allmendinger up there because I'm a big AJ fan. I think he's a great guy. He definitely has a lot of passion for racing, and you can just tell he wants to win for every team that he drives for, and I love that.
Yeah, he's a great guy to have on your team, that's for sure.
Totally. So in all honesty, I'm on Team Chase on this one, but he definitely got some points knocked because he did hear the penalty was given to him, but I think that it was just, he was nervous, or his adrenaline was just so high that he just blocked it out.
For sure, for sure. Now, what did the fans or what did the people have to say about this race?
Well, overall, like I want to give my thoughts on the race.
Oh,
Overall, as a whole, I thought it was a good race. There were a lot of battles. It was definitely interesting racing, I'd say, and I'd give it an 8 maybe. It was a good race. I definitely want to see them come back, and the improvements don't have that ramp. Fix the curb, and that's all. It will be a great race next year, I think. So
yeah, I agree.
now let's take a look at what the fans have to say. 4 of you said great, 3 of you said good, 1 of you said meh/okay, and 1 of you said bad. Henry24257 says Allmendinger 1 and Hamlin 8. I can't say that word. 10 out of 10.
Tell
Uh,
me what you said.
um, so thoughts on the curb. Henry also says get rid of it. He says thoughts on the Briscoe and Hamlin and the entire finish, and he says Hamlin is a donkey, always has been and still is, which I agree with completely. And we got 2 votes for Chase Briscoe to be driver of the day and 1 for AJ Allmendinger. Forgot who I was gonna give it to. Yeah, actually, I remember. I was gonna give it to Larson because he was pretty much dominating the race, and I thought Larson was gonna win. I didn't expect Hamlin to get back to the front or Briscoe at that matter either.
No, for me, I mean, I would have to say it has to be between Larson, like you said, or Chase Briscoe.
All right, so now moving on to some silly season news. First off, we got Josh Berry. He's going to be in the 8 car for this season or next season. Excuse me, I cannot talk tonight. I personally think that he deserves this. What do you think?
I completely agree. It's really cool to see him full time, and he's had some really good runs this year, so I'm very happy for him.
In trucks, we got Carson Hocevar. He's staying at Nice for another season, which I think is another great move. He burst onto the scene. He got second, if I'm correct. It might be either Kansas, maybe he got second. I'm not too sure, but he did get second in one race, and then ever since then, his momentum has been really high. He's been battling for wins. I like Carson. I'm going to root for Carson a little bit more, and I think that he's going to do big things in the future.
I'd like to see Hocevar win a race. Maybe he'll win this year. We'll see. I mean, the way they've been running, he's been pretty consistent as the years gone along, and I think that contract extension is much deserved.
And finally, we have some pain for me as a Logano fan. Joey Logano is switching spotters with Brad Keselowski, so his Logano's spotter TJ Majors will be going to the 2 car, and Brad's spotter Coleman Presley will be going to the 22.
Personally, I don't like this move because Majors has been with Logano for so many years. I don't know how many years, but he's been with Logano for such a long time. So them to just switch because Brad's like about to leave Penske just makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why this is happening. I mean, Majors is one of the best spotters in NASCAR today, and I love TJ Majors. He helped Joey get a title in 2018. That's when he first started, I believe, 2017, 2018. And he's just been such a great spotter. But Coleman and Logano are actually very good friends. They used to be roommates a while back when Joey was in Gibbs. So
I didn't know.
I guess that's good. And Coleman's not too bad of a spotter. I mean, he's helped Brad get some wins in the past. And from what I was reading about it from Bob Pockrass, it might be just temporary for this season, but if it works out in the future, then it could be permanent. But another thing that I was thinking of is that this could be for Austin Cindric, because keep in mind, Tim Cindric is a big part of Team Penske, so which is Austin's dad. So I'm not sure if Austin's being a silver spoon, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So now let's get into something that we have not done in a while. Paint scheme review.
Yeah, man.
We're going to start off with Chase Elliott's childhood cancer awareness car. This was designed by some kids in a local children's hospital, I think in North Carolina. I'm not too sure where it is, but it actually does not look too bad. You got like it's a solid black color with a little bit of gray, and then you got some like gold lines that kind of look like puzzle pieces or like a maze, and then the Napa Auto Parts logo on the side is completely handwritten. I don't know. I kind of like it. I'll give it a 7.
It does look pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's something that kind of reminds me of like some of the schemes they used to use for the Texas race whenever they used to conduct Commander 400. That's what it reminds me of. I think the scheme's really good though. I have to give this like a 9 out of 10.
And then next up is Michael Annette's Pilot Flying J chicken sandwich. This is pretty cool, I guess. I mean, you got the orange representing the hot, or the red. I'm not sure exactly because I'm looking at the render version. And then you got a giant chicken sandwich on the side. I'll give this one another 7.
Trying to find this one. It's interesting to see a chicken sandwich on the side of a car. I can't find it for some reason.
Oh,
I'm
here
sorry.
you go. Here you go. I sent it.
Oh wow, that looks like Doritos, sort of. It looks really cool though. Like, I like how they added the chicken sandwich. Man, that's, for me, that's a 9.5 out of 10. Like, automatically. Like, I really love this car. It makes me hungry now.
And also from Michael Annette, we got his TMC scheme. This is kind of bland, but it also has like a throwback type of vibe. I like the bronze on there. I mean, I'll give this one, I guess. I'll give this one a 4, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really like this one either. I'm gonna say this one's like a 4.5.
And then next up, we got Brandon Brown's Baby Doge car. This is interesting. I like the blue. The white looks all right, and then you got the what's it called, like the dog fur color. It's interesting. I'll give it like a 5, maybe.
It looks like something you see at one of those like what's it called? It's like, I don't know, like one of those stores where you get plushies. That's what the dog looks like. But I mean, it's cool to see another Doge on a car. But this is I just don't really like. It would probably be something for a night race, in my opinion, like a Richmond or a Bristol night race. It's okay. I'll probably give this like a 6 or a 5.
You ran it at Atlanta.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. And then next up is Christopher Bell's Craftsman car, plus CMN Hospitals. I think this is another kid's hospital. I'm not too sure, but it's got a rocket ship, and I mean, it looks interesting for like a kid, kind of cartoonish. I'll give this one a 6, I guess.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'd probably give it the same rating at 6.
And then next up is Kyle Busch's extra car, the car that he finished out his Xfinity season in. I like this car. It's very simple, but I like it. It speaks extra gum to me. Yeah, and I really like that. And then you got the gum on the hood, kind of like the way that the packaging is. I'm gonna give this one an 8.
Trying to find this one, to be honest with you. Where is it? Okay, I see a couple Cup Kyle Bushes, but I can't find the Xfinity one for some reason.
There you go.
Okay, oh, that one. I've seen this one. I actually really like this one. It reminds me of when he used to drive the Spearmint car and the Double Mint car in the Cup. Yeah. Except for it's more green, and because it's more green, I really like this one. This one's a 10 out of 10.
And then next up, we have Kevin Harvick's Mobile 1000 car. This looks okay. It's got the similar black that his classic Mobile one does in the same numbers, but it also has this nice art of a highway going into the mountains on a sunset. I don't mind it. I'll give it a 7.
And some of these must be from really, really deep part in the chat because I'm having a hard time finding this one too.
Yeah. Like I said, we
Uh,
haven't really reviewed schemes in a while.
Okay, never mind. I found it. Yeah, this one's pretty cool though. I actually like this. It's like a 7.5 for me. Yeah.
And then next up, we have Corey LaJoie's Boss Baby car. Pretty simple. I liked his fire suit that he ran with it. I really like when NASCAR drivers run kind of like suits as their fire suit. But this looks okay, I guess. I'll give this one, I guess, a 5.
You know, we don't really see very many movie, I guess, promotion paint schemes anymore. I'm not a huge fan of like the Boss Baby movies. I mean, it's probably because I haven't watched them. I've seen memes, but I never watched the actual movie. The car is all right. I mean, it is kind of odd, but it definitely is kind of cool for sure. I have to probably give this a 7, just like the car number.
And then next up, we have Cole Custer's Code 3 Associates. Nice to see Code 3 back. This is a pretty interesting scheme. I like it, how the blue and the white looks. The gray, I mean, I don't mind it, but it's just kind of like in a random area of the car. I'll give this a 7.5.
I'm not really too fond of this car. I'm giving this a 4.
And then next up is Chase Briscoe's Circle B car, or truck, excuse me. This looks really interesting. It's got the classic colors, different scheme. I'll give this one probably a 6. Also, why are there red rims? That confuses me. I don't know if those are on the actual car though, truck though. Yeah,
I like the red rims too. Like, there's just I don't even know what's on the back of the truck. It looks like a bunch of names, but yeah, I could probably give that like a 6.
And then next up, also from Chase Briscoe, is one Kier car. This looks pretty cool. I like the green and the white. God, I can't talk tonight. And dogs, I like how they're real pictures of dogs too, so that's nice. I'll give this one a 6 also.
It looks like something you would definitely drive for an Atlanta race, to be honest with you. But I mean, more like a spring race than like a summer race or an autumn race. But it's an amp for me. I mean, I like the message and all that behind it, but I mean, just looking at the scheme in general, it's a 5.
And the next up is Bailey Curry's Fort Worth screen printing car. This is giving me BB&T vibes when Jeff Burton drove that. I'll give this one also kind of Washington, I don't know, football team now, I guess. I don't know. I don't call them the football team.
Well, I mean, no wonder you put this one up for the Pacers reviews because it looks like the Washington football team car.
I'm gonna give it. I'll also give this one a 6. A lot of 6s for me today.
Reminds me of like a restaurant that's in Greenville, South Carolina. I forgot what it's called. It's something like Dominion or something. I forgot what it's called. It looks similar to that color, that restaurant. But either way, I think it's pretty cool though. I have to probably give that like a 7.5.
And then next up is Tyler Reddick's Akimura Chevy. His car for, I'm not sure what race he ran this in, but it's okay. It's really simple. It's got the blue front, like one of his calamari. I'm not sure what it's called. Kahari surfing. But then it's got like this normal like white base.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what that's all about. And then you got the red number there, so that's a little bit of a turn off. I'm gonna give this one a 4.
I don't really like this one though, honestly. I mean, it's got to be a 4 or a 3.5. I just don't like it.
And then next up is Michael McDowell's Horizon Hobby. This looks all right. I mean, I like the blue and the white. That looks really good. They did a great job meshing the colors together. I'll give this one a 6.
I'd agree with all your points. It looks like something you would do for like a Daytona road course race or something like that. My opinion is like an 8.
And then next up, we got Patrick Earmings? I don't know.
Yeah, Emmerling. It's an odd name.
I've never heard of him before. This looks okay. Kind of looks like an ocean. I guess that was what they were going for there. I'll give this one a 5.
Oh wow, that's definitely different than me. I mean, I don't know what's on the side of the car. I mean, it looks very cool in my opinion with the red rims. But I don't know what is that an astronaut in the ocean on like the side behind
It
the
is a bass, I think, or marlin.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, I like it a lot. I have to give that a 9. Honestly, I like that scheme.
And finally, for underfunded paint scheme reviews, we got Josh Williams' Sleep Well scheme. Doesn't look too bad. I like how it kind of does give me the vibes because of wanting to sleep, because you got like the breeze sort of. Looks all right.
It looks like Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give this one. I'll give it another like 5. I'm neutral with it.
See, I can't recall hardly any NASCAR schemes that's to do with like pillows or like beds or sleeping other than errands.
True.
So yeah, like this is a rare sight to see right here. But I actually like this one a lot. It looks like something you probably, run at night though. But I think that's a 7.
Okay. So that will conclude the paint scheme review. And now let's get into the top 10 for this week. So Christian, you want to go ahead and start us off?
Can we pause real quick so I can pull up the list so I can know what numbers you're doing? So starting off the top 10 this week, I decided to do some not moments wise, which I have the last 2 episodes. And this time we're going to do the worst crashes at Michigan. Of course, none of these are fatal. These are the 10 worst crashes, in my opinion, at Michigan International Speedway. Starting off at number 10, we got Mark Martin hitting the pit road wall in 2012. Roll the clip.
Mark had been there for a while, and you can see Mark spinning now. Not much you can do except hold on and lock the brakes as a driver at this point in time. And right there. Oh. Yeah.
So in 2012, Mark Martin actually was on the pole for this race, but on lap 64, there's contact between Bobby Labonte and Juan Pablo Montoya. And Mark Martin got involved in this same thing as Kane, I think. But Mark Martin he had no chance. He just spun down pit road, careening out of control. And he hit the end of one of the pit road areas and almost went into, if I'm correct, it's either Casey Kane or Jimmy Johnson's pit crew. So it was a very scary incident for sure. I mean, the wall impaled the car. And I remember Martin talking about this later, that it scared him a little bit. And, because it was a sudden stop, too. The car just suddenly stopped. And thankfully, everyone was all right. There was a little bit of a fire after the hit, but the safety crews were there pretty fast. They got rid of it, and no one was hurt. So, yeah, that definitely deserved being the top 10.
And at number 9 is Cole Custer's big crash in 2016. Here's the clip.
Peters, the push, and then Byron looked underneath, thinking about maybe I'll go for the lead. Gets Peters loose a little bit on that contact, and hard into the wall is Cole Custer.
Same situation. He got loose underneath Brett Moffitt.
Wow.
You got fire coming out the back here.
That was a big hit.
See the winning net down.
So this happened in the Truck Series race there. He was jockeying for position with, I believe, Brett Moffitt, and he kind of just came up a little bit and then just spun himself out and then hit the wall really hard.
It was a head-on impact. And moving on to number 8, Cody Coughlin hitting the inside wall very hard in the truck race in 2017. Roll the clip.
Back in the middle of the pack, got wrecked over in the tunnel turn of Pocono.
It's the final stage, and it's green at Michigan.
Good start by Haley, but not so much for Enfinger that was behind Haley.
Around goes Cody Coughlin in the 13.
Hang on, Cooper, hang on.
So there wasn't a whole lot of info about this wreck, but I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen this one before. Cody Coughlin gets turned on the restart. And if I'm correct, I don't know if the wall is that close to the track anymore, but the wall seemed very close. So the impact was really hard. Bubba Wallace ended up winning this race. for his first win of the season, and he held off Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch. Moving on to number 7, there's no videos or pictures I could find of this wreck, and this, in fact, is Ernie Irvan's career-ending wreck that happened in 1999. So, for those that don't know, most people, when they think about Ernie Irvan's career-ending crash, people would think it was in a Cup race, and I actually thought it was in a Cup practice, to be honest with you. But I didn't know that it was actually for the Busch Series. So he was running practice for the Napa 200 in the Busch Series race at Michigan in 1999. His car lost control out of turn 4. His Pontiac went driver's side into the wall. He had a mild head injury and a bruised lung in this wreck. And, understandably, 2 weeks later, he would announce his retirement, saying that he wanted to prevent future accidents that could affect him supporting his family. Ernie Irvan, in my opinion, one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time. He had 15 career wins, 22 poles, 68 top 5s, 124 top 10s in his NASCAR Cup Series career. And his most well-known wreck will be mentioned later in the video. So, Mike, number 6.
Yep, and at number 6 is Johnny Benson's flip. Here's the clip.
Car spinning, the car number 41. Johnny Benson, as a car takes a roll as it slid backwards, the apparent.
So in 1993, not really sure what happened, but it looked like he just spun off the track. Someone spun him out, maybe, I'm not sure, and then he just rolled over it 5 times. But luckily, he was not injured.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild wreck. I remember seeing, when I first saw this wreck, I was like, this is going to be a really interesting story. I first saw this wreck on YouTube because I was watching a 1990s crash compilation or so, and I was 9 or 10, and I saw this wreck. I'm like, at first I thought it was Daytona or Talladega, because you're used to seeing cars flip down the backstretch in the grass at the super speedways, but not at Michigan. So it kind of took me by surprise, but yeah, I feel like that deserved that spot on the list. So moving on, though, to number 5, we got Brett Bodine's really hard crash during practice in 2003. Roll the clip.
Already in turn, and you can see the right front is destroyed. Therefore, he has no brakes. Almost like the throttle's even stuck.
It does look that way. Doesn't
I'm not.
Oh no, it's something about the Bodines, Mike. Almost every one of the crashes in the top 10, there's a Bodine in it. The top 10 last week at Indianapolis was the moment Jeffrey Bodine had the wreck with Brett Bodine. But this time, Brett Bodine was practicing in the 11 Hooters car. He hit the wall on the exit of turn 2. He lost his steering, apparently. He absolutely nailed the inside wall on the backstretch. It was a very hard hit. And he actually was able to climb out the car, but he actually suffered a broken collarbone, and he would miss the next 7 races. And yeah, his brother's also on this list. So yeah. Moving on to number 4, though. Let me pull this up. So number 4, I do have pictures of this wreck. There's no videos of this, since this was actually in the 1979 Gabriel 400 at Michigan. Mike will have the pictures up on the screen. First time I saw this picture, scared me, because it was the one of him about to fly over the wall. And this is back when he didn't have fencing down on the wall. And the car literally went flying over the wall. So basically, Steve Pfeiffer was driving in relief of owner-driver Roger Hamby. He lost control and the pit road, slamming into a dirt embankment, which they used to have at Michigan. And then it catapulted him basically over the wall. And there was some spectators there, so he did, if I'm correct, he hit 2 or 3 of them. And then a photographer, Ray Cook, he suffered leg and ankle injuries. Pfeiffer only had a couple minor injuries, and then it says another part of my notes. Others hit by the car included an unidentified security guard, were able to walk away with just minor scrapes and bruises. And I'm thankful, that could have been a much worse wreck, because he could have maybe, the throttle could have been stuck where he was still going. He could have ran over people more. He could have went into the pit area. It was just a scary looking wreck. But moving on to number 3, we got Elliott Sadler flipping at Michigan in 2000.
Final practice. You're riding with Elliott Sadler. There's the tire blowing. There's the first time over. Second, third. How many times did you go over, Elliott?
I think we ended up 12 times before it was all said and done. It's definitely the scariest time of my life, but I tell you what, the Wood brothers built me a great race.
So this is one of, if I'm correct, Sadler's first time going airborne. It wouldn't be the first time he would flip in his career, aka Talladega. But this was in practice for the Kmart 400 at Michigan. Elliott Sadler cut a tire heading into turn 1. There's only video of his car already being airborne. So basically, to some reports, his car flipped 12 times. I don't know if it flipped 12 times, but he was pretty high up in the air, and he was able to walk away. So that was a pretty crazy wreck. But Mike, moving on to number 2.
That's right. Number 2 is Todd Bodine and Kenny Wallace's big wreck. Here's the clip.
Todd Bodine and Kenny Wallace. Bodine's car is pitched up in the air.
Still fire.
A heavy crash. Wow.
The 2003 race there, where Todd Bodine was racing with Kurt Busch, and Kurt kind of got a little loose, I guess, underneath Bodine, and then just went into Bodine. Bodine slammed the wall and went a little bit airborne with his nose. And Kenny Wallace, he just had nowhere to go. A lot of flames, especially from Wallace's car. Definitely a really, really crazy wreck.
It was such a bad wreck. I remember seeing this on NASCAR.com when I was younger, and that impact was tremendous. Thank you, Lord, for safer barriers and for the Hans Weiss. That was such a bad wreck. And in one of the replays, the car took out the camera on the backstretch wall. But this race was also mostly known for Kurt Busch and Jimmy Spencer having their final altercation, which led to Spencer being suspended for punching Busch. So that's what the race was mainly known for. But at number 1, I'm pretty sure most diehard NASCAR fans know what's going to be at number 1, and this is Ernie Irvan's wreck at Michigan in 1994. And at the time of this wreck, he was in the points lead almost. He was battling for a points lead with Dale Earnhardt. He had such a great season. There's only a couple pictures of the wreck, and it was brutal because this wreck almost killed him. So I'm going to go a little bit into detail about this, so if those that don't like details, sorry. But basically, it was on the morning of August 20th. He's practicing for an upcoming race, and he had if I'm correct, I heard in a podcast episode that Larry McReynolds, his crew chief, was in, and Mick Reynolds told him that Irvin he basically radioed to Irvin yo, we've already got enough practice laps in. You should just take it in. We've got the speed we need. But Irvin wanted to push it again. He wanted to push it another lap to see how fast he could go. And the tire pops. He went into the wall, basically on the right side of the car. But it was such a violent impact. Of course, he had some huge head injuries. Some of the ones you've seen in other NASCAR incidents that led, unfortunately, were fatal. Dr. John May, I don't know how to pronounce this out of my name. Dr. John Mayno, he performed an emergency tracheotomy, which I guess is inserting a tube into him to allow him to breathe. It was a bad scene. I'm not going to get into the details. But yeah, he had a 10% chance of surviving that wreck. He had brain and lung injuries, and he was at St. Joseph's Hospital, and he basically was clinging to life for 2 days after the wreck. He doesn't remember, he was when they asked him about this, he doesn't remember the wreck or that day pretty much. It sidelined, the wreck sidelined him for a year. He went through a lot of therapy and all that. There's a couple of videos online and on YouTube talking about the complete story about it. So if you wanted to learn more about this, you could look it up. But basically, he was next cleared the race in September 16th, 1995, where he returned to North Wilkes-Barre. He finished 6th and led 31 laps. So, yeah, that's the list. The 10 worst wrecks at Michigan. comment down below what you think or what you would change about the list.
Yeah, let's get into some picks for this weekend's races at Michigan and Gateway. We're going to start off with Gateway's picks, Worldwide Technology Raceway, whatever it's named now. It's really weird name.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with kind of an odd pick. I'm going to go with Todd Gilliland. When I was researching, he led the most laps, but he ended up finishing like 17th, I think, or 19th, one of the two.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with him, and he'll be a surprising winner to start off the playoffs for the Truck Series.
You know what, Mike? You stole my pick. But yeah, I picked him as well. Gateway's an okay track. I don't really like it a whole lot. If I'm correct, they changed it to Worldwide Technology Raceway or something like that. It's in St. Louis. The track mainly known for the Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards incident in 2010.
He's got one more lap to deal with Brad Keselowski. Keselowski fights back on the inside.
Whatever happens now, this race.
High touch. Keselowski gets into Edwards. They save it. Drag race down the backstretch now.
That's that half car length I was talking about. They both survived it. Let's see what happens in turn 3.
Reed Sorensen waiting in the wings. Here's Keselowski on the inside. Carl Edwards, can he make it stick on the outside? Brad thought he had the best car all night. Took the inside line on the restart. This is going to be down to the wire. Oh, they touch. He spun out. Carl gets into Keselowski. Carl Edwards will win.
If it's not Gilliland, I think Grant Enfinger's probably going to win it. There's 10 cars in the Cup Series, or not the Cup Series, the Truck Series playoffs. If I'm correct, Matt Crafton hasn't won so far this year. So if he wins again without winning a race, I'm sure there's going to be a huge uproar. But like, there's some drivers in this playoff that are like very deserving. Like Zane Smith, he's been consistent. Even though he only has one top 5, he's had 10 top 10s. We see guys like Ben Rhodes with 5 top 10s. You know, John Hernimchek's just been dominating pretty much the season. 5 wins, 9 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and only 1 DNF. But, you know, Crafton, he's only had 1 DNF. Carson Hocevar, 0 DNFs. There's some of these guys have been just really, like, dominating. But Enfinger missed the playoff. I thought he was going to make it this year. I really did. But he was just short. But I agree with you. I think Todd Gilliland's going to win the truck race.
So now for the Xfinity Series, I'm going to go with an odd, well, not really an odd pick, but I'm not sure how good of a pick this will be, but I'm going to go with Noah Gragson.
I mean, I've picked him multiple times this year, and he hasn't won. So I don't really know who to go with here because you see Justin Allgaier, if I'm correct, he's had some good races there. Ty Gibbs, I don't know. I'm actually going to pick Harrison Burton because he's really good at usually 2-mile tracks or 1.5-mile tracks that aren't super speedways. So I'm going to say Harrison Burton wins.
And finally, for the Cup race, I already know this pick. It's probably going to get thwarted by Larson, but I'm still going to make the pick anyway. I'm going to go ahead and say Kevin Harvick.
Oh, yeah. I would really love to see Kevin Harvick win. It feels different not seeing him win a race like in a season because last year he won so many races and then this year it's just nothing. So
yeah, he's having like a hangover.
Penske's always been good at Michigan, and for me, I have to go between like a Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, one of those two probably. And I'm going to pick Joey Logano to win this race, actually. He's won in Michigan multiple times in the past. I mean, Harvick's won there too, but I just think Joey Logano's going to win. I don't think it's going to be an eventful race, but it'll probably come down to like a restart sort towards the end. I actually think that the truck race will have an overtime finish. So that's one bold pick.
Yeah, I mean, you can't forget Larson either. He was so good at Michigan 4 years ago.
Larson's had a good history there too, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wins.
Yeah, that's another. Larson is definitely another one of my picks. My fantasy team for this weekend is Larson, Logano, Truex Jr., Harvick, Chase Elliott, and I forgot the last guy. So sorry, but
all the points leaders. Hey, yeah, man. Definitely an interesting episode this week. There's just the two of us for this episode, but I hope y'all enjoyed this.
Yeah, for those of you who don't really watch us on the regular, we have two other guys here, but they unfortunately could not come tonight, but they will hopefully be back for next episode. But anyways, that's going to close this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Follow our Instagram. Subscribe to our sports channels. Join our fantasy league. And we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.